Men have realized that marriage is a complete scam for them.
Women are wondering, like, why aren't men wanting to get married these days? Why are men not even approaching me and talking to me anymore? Why are men checking out completely? Look at the risk reward of getting into a relationship with a woman, potentially for a family and kids. You know, if you want to sleep around and just like hoe it up as a dude, and salute, brother, go handle business. The game ends the same for us.
Is that enough?
Can you find
men?
happiness? Can you find happiness and joy? For some men, it's great. But I think every man on a deeper level yearns for a family, yearns for that dream, like a woman that's supportive, nurturing.
Marriage is a scam for any man. If a woman loves you, there are no titles needed. Real mutual love is expressed through your actions and words, how you treat them, how you worship and love each other, keep each other happy, and everything in between. No titles like marriage are needed in a real loving relationship. So if she wants a ring, then she wants your money.
Why marriage is actually a complete scam, right? If you really love somebody and you're willing to spend the rest of your life with somebody, why does a paper need to justify that? Why do you need to host an entire wedding just to tell your parents and friends that you're committed to somebody? Why can't you just do that on a simple micro level between the two of you? And my mentor, Jason Capital, always talked about this, and that's why he doesn't want to get married as well. It's because it's all just a tool for the girl to get 50% of what you have. And that's how you see all these things happening in the news right now with Johnny Depp and this girl, Amber. She's trying to take $14 million from him, and he did absolutely nothing. It's because they were married that she is now obligated to make these kind of accusations. You know, even if a prenup is signed, it's still not as valid as it was 20, 30 years ago. So make sure that you understand that the world is changing. Things are just moving in either the right or wrong direction, whatever you believe in. But marriage is a complete scam. It's a way for someone else to get 50% of what you have, and maybe they weren't even there from the start. So start evaluating that in your life right now and see if that's really the path that you want to take.
If you don't believe me, just get a cheap ring and see how she reacts. If she gets mad, she wants your money. Until the climate changes in Western societies, I cannot think of an instance when it is a safe, logical, or even good choice for a man to get married, not even with a great prenup. It's also not wise for a man in Western society to live with a woman until the climate/culture/laws, etc. go through major reforms.
Is marriage worth it for women? The benefits mostly go to men. Currently, over 50% of households have a dual income. I read this as women are taking half of their own stuff. In those households, despite a dual income, women are still doing the lion's share of domestic labor and emotional labor.
The mentality before used to be that marriage is this beautiful thing, to have kids together, to raise a family, to create a legacy. It's like the most beautiful thing you could do as a human being. That got turned on its head to like emotional labor.
Men who grew up in dysfunctional families and have firsthand experience with the toxins that unhappy marriages can produce may find this to be especially true. Some guys fall in love, but they don't require a marriage license to demonstrate their dedication to their spouses. Additionally, some guys merely do not believe that marriage is worth the effort.
Women are incentivized to basically, there's such a major financial incentive for women to get divorced as soon as there's even a hint of unhappiness. And look, as a man, you should never sign a contract with someone who is rewarded for breaking it. No sane, informed man would or should sign that contract. As a businessman, it is one of the worst contracts you could possibly sign in your entire life.
A lot of women's strategy to get married is to gaslight. She will tell you that she doesn't believe in divorce, that marriage is the most special thing ever. Then post-marriage, she will tell you that it's just a piece of paper and people are allowed to change. So essentially, this leaves you having loved a person that never existed.
I just think marriage is an L. In today's day and age, I mean, there's obviously the tradition component if you're religious, but you know, when it comes to the government involvement and the potential financial ramifications of having to unwind a marriage, it does not make sense. So don't get married, guys. Don't do it. You do, but you could have a life partner, for example, but you just don't need the government involved.
Exactly
in that.
right. Yeah.
Okay.
And fully wants the whole white picket fence. We are husband and wife, but I just don't feel the need to go and sign some paper that lets them know that we are.
Yep.
Studies show a decline in marriage rates. In the US, there were 340,000 fewer marriages in 2020 than there were in 2019. The decline of 16.8% is sufficient evidence that males are delaying marriage. But why is this taking place? University of Maryland sociology professor Philip Cohen states, "Women's independence and gender equality is a huge factor in the long-term decline in marriage."
Hold on, do you mean to tell me that Cobra Tate will not be married, will not be tamed?
It's not about being tamed or married. I don't believe in marriage in terms of an institution, not because I am against the idea of loving a woman, but I'm so anti-government. I don't want them to have anything to do with me, especially where my dick goes. So fuck them.
Yeah.
So I refuse to sign the piece of paper because I just don't want to deal with governments more.
Okay, so there won't be a Mrs. Cobra Tate, but...
No, if I meet a woman and I point.
Yeah, you.
She's Mrs. Cobra Tate.
Yeah.
I don't need the government to give me any kind of fucking approval.
Have you met a woman yet that you go,
That's all I fucking do. What are you talking about? I'm just pump.
Wow.
You got a sister, bitch?
Bump.
Wow.
Like, what the, you think I'm playing games?
Some men feel that laws are biased against them. You should pursue your aspirations while you're still in your 20s, even if you're still unsure of what you want in a partner. Many young men today are afraid that getting married may interfere with their ambitions and plans for the future. The good news for guys is that they are less concerned about their biological clock than women are. However, the social pressure on many males to achieve financial security before marriage is a drawback. These elements have a part in men's declining marriage rates nowadays.
Worse, and then complaining that they're not getting enough of the man's money, and you're like looking at her like, you dingbat. First of all, nobody wants you out here on the dating market. I hate to break it to you, like what? Like you FOMO'd at 50 and you got kids, like don't nobody want you. And on the other side, it's like you would have had more money if you stayed with him. Okay? If you file for divorce and you don't get a payout, the only people that are going to be advocating for you and being like, no, you need to take him, sis. Get him for everything. Like, those are some toxic women. Like, probably narcissistic women.
A successful marriage is not everyone's cup of tea. Almost half of all marriages end in divorce, which makes me question the purpose behind marriage in the first place. Plus, divorce is a long drawn-out legal battle that saps your resources and continues to do so even after the proceedings. Sometimes, even with a prenup, the divorce doesn't go smoothly. Marriage just feels like you're setting yourself up for financial and mental pain in the future, so why do it? According to studies, 50% of marriages in the US end in divorce, and 80% of those divorces are initiated by women. Since women are more likely to initiate divorce, men usually end up paying a lot more for a divorce. The fear of being financially exploited is one reason men avoid marriage nowadays.
Does that make sense for you as far as like why divorce is inherently more risky for men?
I just feel like you're saying because women tend to be the person who initiates a divorce, correct?
Yes.
That's why it's riskier for men, but why do women tend to end divorces? With successful men that have money, they cheat.
She said it earlier.
They do all these things that women don't want to put up with.
She said it earlier. It's
so
a feeling.
why?
Feelings change from day to day.
Yeah, so I could have been in love with the person at the moment, but if that person is no longer treating me well just because we're married, I have to say no.
That's the point.
Because he can't be a good husband.
So as a man,
that's all I'm asking.
If I marry you and you decide, you know what, he's not the guy I thought he was anymore, I'm leaving. You take half my stuff, and maybe.
So is there no risk without reward? You married me, right?
No. So once again, this is why
you
men
wanted to marry me.
Don't want to get married.
Thought you loved me enough that it would be worth it to you to marry me and take the risk.
Hold on, stop the show. You just basically admitted it with your own words. Why guys don't get married?
Indeed, men who never get married sometimes lead happier, more fulfilling lives. Therefore, regardless of your relationship status, if you're unsure about whether marriage is the best decision for you, we can offer you some advice. You must comprehend why marriage is not as significant as it is portrayed to be. The notion of forever and happily ever after may seem too unrealistic for them to consider to be true, which is one of the reasons why men no longer desire to get married.
67% of marriages end in divorce, right? But 80% of them are initiated by women. So you think divorce is this, sort of this equaling the playing field thing for men and women, but it's not. It's mostly women leaving their men, leaving their husbands, destroying their families, strong, independent. Now, 93% of alimony is paid for men to women, so you can leave your man, but you can take all his money. It doesn't go the other way around. So if women are so strong and independent, why is that the case? Why isn't it the other way around? Well, 83% of women receive primary custody of their children. Those may seem like wins, but 72% of inmates in state prisons were raised by single mothers.
Most women get primary custody of children in the vast majority of divorce cases, so women may feel they have less to lose when filing for divorce compared to men. And in some ways, they are right. Evidence shows men's well-being tends to drop much more dramatically immediately following a divorce.
Boys, when you find yourself a worthy woman, it's not the ring that she's after, it's building a life together. Don't fall for this, oh, I want a fat nugget on my arm. They're just trying to compete with other women, and they're only looking for the wedding day. They don't give a shit about you.
Men are more likely to be worse off than ever before after marriage. And this is one of the reasons why more and more men are avoiding marriage. The research also adds that men tend to get lonelier after a divorce, while women are more likely to find a partner and settle down with another man. It's even worth it to say that the safe way a man can get married is if the woman makes more and there are no children. When I say safe, I mean financially. Unless you're a Cha or Tyrone, you won't be respected at all. Also, you're going to have to lower your beauty standards. No pretty woman is even noticing a non-Chad that makes less than her. It just isn't worth it. The problem men have today is that we've been educated that men and women are equal. There was this sense and understanding that men are providers, where they are the breadwinners for the family, as well as their protectors from other men or the evils of society. And if you don't provide that role, you'd get kicked out of your community. Or if the man is an alcoholic or an abuser, he'd be divorced. So, that's what divorce used to mean for men. But now, after the feminist no-fault divorce phenomenon, it has changed the game entirely. It's a revolutionary shift designed to subjugate men and empower women beyond law and responsibility. They say that married men have the most money, single men have some money, and divorced men have no money. Marriage is not just financially risky for men, but also emotionally taxing as well. Women become bossy, annoying, and emotionally distant after marriage. So if men want a happy relationship with their women, don't marry them. On the other side, getting married is the best financial decision a woman can make. It's the fastest step she can take to climb the socioeconomic ladder and reach new heights in society. Getting married is the worst financial decision a man can make. Don't get married. Don't have children with them. Don't let them move in. Don't give them a key to your house. Don't let them know where you live. Don't give them your real name. With $40,000 to $50,000, imagine what these couples could have done if they had saved that amount instead, or invested as somewhere to grow for their future. Also, do you see how it's the ladies who start blabbering when asked about the wedding cost? Yeah, that's because they're the ones who usually want the glitz and glam and extravagant affair to polish their bruised egos inside. The roles of men and women in marriage are shifting dramatically as society's core structure is being radically altered. Men are having a hard time adjusting to a world where patriarchy no longer exists. In the end, relinquishing power is not simple. This is the actual cause of the high number of unhappy marriages. Men feel that laws are biased against them, and they have good reason to believe that. It's sad and frustrating to see society come to this, because it shouldn't be like this. There's a reason why waiting till marriage was pushed a long time ago, because it meant being exclusive to one person. And this goes for men as well. Marriages and relationships were possible because people were disciplined and respectful. Sure, not all men were virgins back in the day, but the intimacy didn't affect them like it did women, which is why women were always protected by their fathers and even brothers. Research has found that more women initiate divorce than men, and up to 70% of no-fault divorces are started by women. In the United States, no-fault divorces are legal in all 50 states, and research estimates put the figure of women starting divorce proceedings at 70%. While in the UK, 62% of divorces are started by women. Thanks for watching Man Reacts. Show us your love and support by liking this video, sharing it with your friends, and subscribing to the channel. Support us and help us spread support for men around the world. Do comment and share your thoughts. We're always up for a healthy debate and discussion.